Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Game Vortex, and we're talking about PlayStation Pro discussion part 2. I have very interesting theories and in general wanted to share something with you here. Yesterday I had after my angry rant basically, I had a whole day to read the comments, to digest, to keep an open mind about the console, and then eventually something came up. What is very interesting for me is that some people said, oh, you just need to embrace it, keep an open mind and stuff like that, but I kind of still on the fence on that. Let's talk about it for a few minutes. I have a few interesting points to tell you. Now, Xbox came out later on and they basically said that they are not worried at all because the power gap between Scorpio and this is going to be huge, almost 50% more power basically, and they said they could have released a more powerful Xbox this generation, but decided not to do just minor upgrades instead of doing something major. Now, I think that Sony originally didn't plan to release this thing. The only thing that they released this PlayStation Pro for the following reasons. Either, most likely, it's a push from the whole Sony corporation. You have to understand that PlayStation makes one of the only divisions probably in Sony corporation that makes money. So they probably, the executives were like, okay, you guys doing great, you sold 40 million, now use the power of the PlayStation 4 to push our electronics business. And that mainly is TVs and 4K, because Samsung and LG pretty much dominate the market. Sony's market share in the TV world dropped a lot because a lot of their TVs, even though they're very good quality, they're quite expensive. So I think that's the reason why this console exists in the first place, and it's not a great idea because they basically, not scamming people, but how should I say it, they're just blatantly lying. First of all, it's not native 4K, so now I have to keep putting 4K in there. Like when it's native and it's running at least 30 FPS, then yeah, go for it. But it's upscaled version of the game. It's not real 4K, you know. And come on. Also, that's one of the things. And second, it's what pisses me off is that they try to position this with an excuse to hide the real fact that they have no idea what this console is for and that they don't really want to have it on the market. Is that they say this thing. During yesterday's conference, you saw Andrew Howe saying we just capitalized on the gamers in general, but there is small segment of the market, the people who want the best quality, the best performance, the best stuff, the pro gamers. That's why this is the product for them. I'm sorry, but this is bullshit, and it's bullshit for two reasons. Number one, the people in that niche pro gamers, they own PCs. You don't sell them $400 piece of hardware that upscales games and can't natively run 4K, or even for that matter, it probably can't do 2K at 60 FPS per second. That's not for pro gamers. If you want to capture pro gamers who have rigs with GTX 1080 and SLI and all that stuff, you need to release a system that will probably cost around $1,500 and can do native 4K at 60 FPS. You need to have something like a Steam machine, an Alienware Steam machine, a top end. That's gonna be super expensive. That way you can capitalize on the hardcore gamers. But that's not gonna happen, isn't it? Because you know you're gonna sell 3,000 of those boxes at best. Because the true reason is that you have yourself no idea why you're releasing this console. And most likely your company, the Sony company, is pushing you to do it to hopefully push the sales of their TVs. And you can see it's just incredible how much it segments the market. They showed the press conference, you've noticed, right? They keep explaining you HDR and 4K, but nobody who is watching it at home, on the computer, on the TV, on some kind of a streaming service, can actually notice the difference, because most of the people don't have 4K TV. And even if they do, most of the time it's not HDR compatible. So all this shit that you're showing makes it doesn't work. It's like me trying to explain you how VR feels without you actually able to see the difference or experience it for yourself. This is the stupidest mistake ever. You're trying to explain even to hardcore people like, shit, I was watching yesterday and I was like, well, I can't notice any difference. Even on 1080p screen with the maximum streaming possible quality that they had, I couldn't notice the difference for that thing. Horizon, yeah, there are like subtle changes that you can see in the background, you know, like the lighting and everything, but like we can't appreciate HDR looking at the normal screen. Sony, what the hell have you done? And you're tooting your device. That's the mistake number 3. You're tooting your device as a 4K console without providing the support for 4K Blu-ray. And your excuse, Andre House, you said yesterday during the interview that we see that the majority of people are preferring streaming. You don't speak for majority, please, because I have a 20 megabit connection and it's not enough. You think it's enough, but it's not, because it's not only like it says on the paper that it's 20, but in reality there are pings, there are delays, there are bandwidth and so on and so forth. I don't have any caps, but you know that secretly people in the internet companies, if you work there, you know that they're still throttling the more you download, the more you stream. So don't tell me about that majority of the people prefer streaming. Majority of your 14 million customers who supported you in the first place still use the Blu-rays. I use Blu-ray all the time. And the thing is, if I'm buying a 4K TV right now, I'm not buying it to play PlayStation 4 Pro. I'm buying it to also consume 4K media, because that's where you justify buying this. If I only buy this for myself playing games, my wife should probably kill me and say like, are you that selfish, right? That you just buy it for the games. But if we can sit down and watch movies together, and I like to watch documentaries, you know, those documentaries like Frozen Planet and Home, and where you have like this panoramic views, and that's what shows the detail in true uncompressed HD. So give me a fucking CD drive that can play it, because if I decide that I want to have a 4K TV, right, I'm going to buy it, and I tell my wife, let's go watch movies, and oh shit, we can't play it on PlayStation 4 Pro. So my only option is to buy the cheapest possible 4K Blu-ray on the market, and that is an Xbox One S, because it is the cheapest one. And when I'm looking at it, not only that it's a cheap Xbox like Blu-ray player, right, but it also gives me more. I can stream things, I can play an Xbox games, right, because I haven't owned an Xbox since an Xbox 360. So I never thought about buying now. But now I'm actually considering, because it not only that it gives me Blu-ray playback, the 4K Blu-ray playback, but also something more that I get into their ecosystem. And Sony really screwed up on that part. Andrew House said maybe we can patch that in an update. I don't think it's that simple, because when this format was announced, the 4K Blu-ray, which is actually hilariously Sony's own proprietary format that they stood behind, that they took a hit on PlayStation 3 by putting a Blu-ray in every fucking single console. So this is the most hilarious thing, is that they don't support their own format. And when they announced the 4K Blu-ray, I think about a year ago or something, when they finalized the specs, they said that the old drives will not be compatible with it. Your drive has to be specific for 4K Blu-ray. You will still play the old ones, but your old one that's saying the PS4 or something won't be able to read the 4K Blu-rays, because it requires a different type of laser. And I think that's fact that they're gonna patch it in is a pile of bullshit. I think that's a pile of bullshit. Also, let's finish this talk with HDR that nobody of us could appreciate sitting at home. Now, you fuck up a lot of times. First of all, there aren't many 4K TVs, and a lot of people who bought a 4K last year and spent like $2,000 or something or more, they don't have HDR support. They don't have HDR support. Not every single 4K TV comes with an HDR support. That's the fact and the reality. So you're segmenting people who own 1080p screens, you're segmenting those who own 4K, and you're segmenting to those who have an HDR. And obviously nobody could appreciate that over the internet and watching it on the computer screen, your presentation, and to see the difference. Yeah, you can probably put some kiosk and stuff, but in general, that's insane. Like, the good HDR TV cost about $3,500. A good one, right? Let's take Sony's one. Like there's a 60-inch, 65-inch one I watched yesterday. I looked it up on Amazon. That's $4,000. I mean, that's a hell of a peripheral to enjoy your PlayStation Pro. Sooner or later, yeah, I'll upgrade, but I'm not sure that I'll be able to get an HDR one because, come on, we have other expenses in life. And finally, I'll push this up. Why I think Sony pushed this console out. Do you notice something? That nobody from those 40 million people who bought the PlayStation 4 actually complained that the console is bad, that the graphics are bad, that we are not enjoying it. Like, has anyone actually noticed that the people asking Sony, please release a new console because this one is shit. We want 4K. We want everything. No, nobody said that. Nobody said that. So what's the purpose of doing it if nobody is there, where there isn't a demand? You're trying to create the demand. And I feel sorry for them because during their press conference, there was no one clapping. And after the press conference, there was mostly negative reactions. They just rode this wave of hype from the announcement of PlayStation 4, how they dominated the Xbox One. And this wave they just lost it. They just lost it with one presentation. It took them 2 years to build it. They had great momentum going and they fucked it up. And today I read that the Xbox One S is outselling PS4 for the second month in a row. I think Sony's success is finally diminishing, and I won't be surprised if the tables turn around this generation, because once you get cocky like you did with PlayStation 2, you're bound to screw up. So there we go. This is my mad rant again. I just tried to explain you the reasons. Would I buy one? Yes, if I really wanted to, I would, but I'm not going to, because right now, like, I have a house where I barely have enough time to play. I have kids and stuff. Another kid is on the way, and I have my PS4 upstairs, but I don't need another one. That's the thing. If I would buy Neo, I would have to sell this one, and who the fuck would want to buy an inferior PS4 right now? First of all, second-hand. Third, there is a slim version that dropped in price, so if I'd sell it, I'll probably sell it for $100, which kills the purpose of it. Like, it's just a waste of time and money. Right. So there we go. Please subscribe to this channel, click the like button, share the video. I want to know your opinion. Please message me, comment in the video down below there. What do you think? What are your thoughts? And please elaborate if you can. I really appreciate the comments that actually a lot of you write a bit of an information and your opinion and stuff. I know we all consider Sony with their Pro and Scorpio to be a different thing, but actually it isn't that much different, because Microsoft said that Scorpio is not going to be a whole new console in terms of, like, it's still going to be an Xbox One something, but most likely what they do is that they said that they're going to do like a PC model. They're going to keep releasing like upgraded versions quite frequently.